Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chuchas opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chuchas Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Make me harder, make me lose my breath, make me water, make me sweat, make me harder, make me lose my breath, make me water.
Normally, I could keep my cool, but tonight I'm whining. I'ma be in a dangerous mood, can you match my timing? Telling me that you're really about it, what you're hiding. Talk is cheap, so show me that you understand how I like it. Can you blow my mind? Set off my whole body if I give you my time.
KBLA Talk 1580. What a joy and an honor to meet Dr. Dashanaba King, also known as Queen Mother Dunyeño. She has her own podcast, Queen Mother Speaks. She's executive director for the Center for Executive and Entrepreneurial Development and a professor at the U.S. International University, Africa. And she connected us with a lot of important voices as well. Some you'll hear right now. A young activist. Bear with the audio here. This is one of the protesters, student protesters, changing the trajectory of his nation's policies with those protests at Parliament. You'll also hear from the national Kenyan gender justice advocate, Margaret Tole, and others. All of this thanks to Queen Mother, Dr. Dashanaba King.
And I am in the News Cafe, Nairobi, Kenya, where I am honored to be in the presence of Dr. Dashanaba King, who's a professor at the U.S. International University, Africa, and she is a Queen Mother in Ghana. It's an honor to be here with you.
Absolutely. Welcome to Kenya. We say Akwaba. Welcome.
Well, you know what? I am also very grateful to you for connecting us with folks here on the ground that we could talk to. You have quite a network over many years of scholarly pursuits and, I guess, Queen Mothering.
Yes, exactly. Because what Queen Mothers do is they take care of people. And by the way, now that I've turned 73 years old, I can actually spank people and I can use a few curse words, and I do.
Is that right? So tell us how you became a Queen Mother.
Queen Mother for 50 years of humanitarian service across Africa.
Speaking of 50 years, this is the 50-year anniversary of the big fight in Africa, right?
Absolutely. Rumble in the jungle.
So, and you had a part to play in that. Explain what that was.
Well, I wound up being one of the beauty queens for the Ali Foreman fight in Kinshasa, Zaire, 74. More on that one later.
1974. Yeah, more on that one when you come back. But you were Miss George Foreman, a beauty queen, yes?
Yes. Well, actually, I started out Miss Ali, right? George was the champion. And then when we would meet with George, we have to put on the George Foreman banners. And with Ali, we had to put on the Ali banners. They both had real big egos.
Well, yeah, they're boxers. Okay, so we I know you don't want to get too deep into that yet. We'll talk about it later, but certainly people are interested in that. Tell me about your scholarly pursuits here in Africa and why here, why you decided to center here. You know, you're from the United States.
Right.
You could have headquartered yourself anywhere.
Well, I've actually lived in several African countries. My first visit to Africa was with the champ for the Ali Foreman fight in Zaire. And since then, I've lived in about 7 or 8 different African countries: Ghana, South Africa, Zimbabwe, now Kenya. And in terms of education, I'm from the South. We are the King family of Birmingham, Alabama, USA. We're part of the group that actually invited Dr. King to come to Birmingham for the whole trip around the letter from the Birmingham jail. I was a little girl, but I remember.
And now you're here in Africa teaching students here.
Yes.
And so why is that important? Why, you know, we're in a battle for our history in the United States, as I'm sure you know, because you're still back and forth. So why did you decide to put your efforts here?
I decided to put my efforts in Africa, and it didn't start in Kenya. I've lived in several countries. I've been in Kenya now for a good 14 years at the USIU Africa University, director of the entrepreneurship program. And we've trained over 5,000 women in entrepreneurship across Africa and more than 3,500 men. I just happen to be in Kenya at this time.
What message do you have for the scholars in the United States now? Actually, scholars here too, but I doubt somehow that the erasure of history is happening here in the same way that it is in the United States.
It's true. What I have to say for the scholarly people is to continue to study, get those degrees, continue to study, continue to put it out there, because they're trying to move our history out of the schools. We can't have that. We will not allow that to happen. So I say continue to go to school, get those degrees, get outside of America, get out of your head, come put your foot in Africa.
You know, there's been a really, as part of the reparations movement in the United States, there's been a really big piece of also honoring our unique qualities, our unique history, our special ancestors as African Americans, and certainly as a child of the South, you must understand that.
Absolutely, we do. And I appreciate what I learned as a child. See, one of my biggest things as a child during the summer was for us to get on a bus and go to various homes where they would take the parents to vote. So we were literally babysitting. And then in the evenings, you go to the church where Dr. King and others would approach you. And they would say, "My child, what did you do for the Lord today?" And you stand up and say, "I babysit 3 houses." You know? But he would say, "You are part of the struggle. You are a child of the movement. You made a difference for us. God bless you." That meant so much to me as a child. And I grew up with that in my spirit.
For those of us, I consider myself a progressive patriot. For those of us who are patriots to the United States of America, but still feel that we have an inheritance and a birthright here in Africa, how do you see that?
Absolutely. Absolutely and positively we do. And we get to learn about that from history, but we also get to learn about that by coming to Africa and putting your foot on the ground. Africa has not made a concerted effort to study African Americans the way we have studied Africa. So now it's on us to educate them in terms of who we are. I meet some who feel like we're not African, and I meet some who feel we're definitely African. But there's no question in my mind that I am African American.
What does America owe us?
Definitely reparations for all that they stole from us and took from us. Not only just us, but our forefathers. The more I read history and the more I learn, I hate to say it, we've been raped so thoroughly. Sometimes I get so angry. But I have to take that anger and put it to something that'll make a difference versus just being angry, because that doesn't do anything.
And what does Africa owe us?
Africa owes us the opportunity to open the doors and allow us to come back when we want to come back. Right now, in many of the African countries, it's very difficult for us to get citizenship. Ghana is one of the few countries who's opened their doors and say, "Come, come, come." But even so, there's still corruption under the table. They feel that corruption is a part of the way it's supposed to be because that's what they learned from the slave masters. But that's not the way it should be. And it's up to us to change that.
What about the role of some Africans here in facilitating the enslavement of African Americans? Are there reparations due for that?
Well, that one I'm not exactly sure of because I haven't studied it the way I have African American history and what is due to us. But by the same token, I do want to see them open up more and accept us. They see me as a black Mzungu. Mzungu is the word for white folks in Africa. So when I speak, they see me as a black Mzungu. And I tell them, that's like calling me a nigger. And when you do that, we put our hands around your throat.
Interesting. We had a whole conversation earlier in Kenya. I met some Kenyan sisters who told me, no, you're not black, you're white. That's how they see me. That said,
Yes.
if you're mixed with anything, that means you're not black.
Mhm.
And of course, I said, well, that's not the politics of the United States. We have the one drop rule, but everyone can only probably understand and function in their own structural manifestation of white supremacy, right? So they're functioning in theirs, we're functioning in ours. But I mean, for those who haven't seen Queen Mother, Dr. Dashanaba King, you're a very beautiful chocolate sister, and they say the same to you.
Yes, they say the same to me because, well, let's say I received a certain level of education and a certain level of expressing myself and speaking with authority. And some of that they see a lot of coming from the Mzungus. So we're here to tell them that they're not the only ones. Yeah, but we're definitely not a Mzungu.
Not a Mzungu. So where would you start? Where would you tell an African American who is interested in reclaiming their access to Africa, their knowledge and understanding, their ease and comfort with the motherland? Where would you have us start?
I would have you start with books by African American writers and African writers. The stories are there. Both male and female, the stories are there. Begin to read the stories and understand what they have to say and what they went through. And then eventually you'll begin to get more and more and more of it. But it is there. We've taken time to write. So I'm going to ask you to read. Read African American literature.
So that's the gateway, not just to our own self, to understanding ourselves and our ancestors in the United States, but also it's the gateway to accessing our ancestors here on the continent.
Absolutely. And we have lots of African writers. I was fortunate enough at UCLA and at Wayne State University to study African studies, African history, in particular, African literature. And that's when I began to learn about the different authors and what different writers had to say, which led me to why I needed to do a dissertation on some things. There's just so much out there. So a lot of the knowledge is there. We just have to go for it and read it.
Dr. Dashanaba King, do you think the attitudes that you're talking about regarding Black Americans versus Africans and vice versa, is it different among the intellectual class, scholars, the writers that you're referring to?
Absolutely, it's different because many of them have lived abroad. They've lived in Africa, various countries in Africa. So their perspective is broader. But it's for us who have that knowledge to pass it on, to teach it. I remember living in Los Angeles, and one Karanga's event or office was across the street from where I lived on Crenshaw. And I love to go over there and receive that knowledge and information. A lot of that we don't have right now. I want to bring it back.
And do you think that the presence of more Black Americans, African Americans on the continent, because I feel like more are moving here, setting up businesses here, do you think it's changing the attitude of Africans in terms of our connection to the motherland?
In some way, yes. In some way, no. But once again, we have studied Africa. Africans have not studied us. So they don't understand our history or our struggle. And sometimes when they steal from us, and yes, they will steal from us, just like they steal in America, they feel like you can get it right back because you're from America.
Yeah, America has such a, golden image here. It's amazing to me. People think, oh, they'll go there and they'll instantly be rich. And they don't understand that we have, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, many of them black, living homeless on the streets in the United States. I love my country, but I don't think it's serving us, because you hear some black migrants, black people from other countries, saying that black Americans are lazy, or we're spoiled, or and I don't know how do we make people understand our struggles? As you said, people haven't studied it.
Yeah. Well, part of it is what we're doing right here, right now, being able to get the word out through media. Okay, and this thing about being lazy and all of that, there may be some lazy ones. There's lazy ones in other cultures too, but we're not all lazy. In fact, most of us are not lazy. In fact, our mothers worked so hard to get us to where we are. Our mothers and fathers gave up so much for us to be here. Until now, it's like it's in our hands, and we have to do something with it. And for me, it was coming back to the continent. Now, you can give anywhere in the world you choose to give, but Africa was the place that my spirit brought me. So here I am.
Yeah, I say, one of the things I've said in this discussion is I feel like we as Black Americans and as Africans, Black Africans, have to stop allowing an interpretation through a middleman, through a white lens, whether that's a Hollywood lens, a media lens, or we have to seize the narrative, because I feel like we're seeing each other through some.
And a lot of books have been written about Africa and African Americans by others. But it's time for us to tell our story. So the writers are here, and we're doing the writing now. So I encourage you to read, I encourage you to write, and set your foot in the motherland. It'll change your life.
And what would you like to see changed about the media coverage of Africa?
I'd like to see more Africans from the continent reporting on what's happening in Africa, and more African Americans reporting on what's happening from their end of the spectrum. Let us tell our story. We're able, we're qualified, and we're ready.
And since we've been here in Kenya and we've seen the protests in Parliament, we've seen young people mobilizing. I've been getting all kinds of texts and direct messages. Are you okay? Kenya's in flames. And being here and, being perfectly safe, it gives you perspective on how the reporting is done. But what would you say to those in the United States who are concerned about Kenya now?
Continue to be concerned. Bad things are going on. In fact, there are some Kenyan youth who we can't find. All right, they've been abducted. We don't know where they are. So we're still looking for some of them. So like our Honorable Margaret Tolley, and even our young man here today, they're here. We want to help do what we can to find them, feed them, hug them, love them, and thank them for standing up. Because as a little girl, this is how it started for me in civil rights, with Dr. King telling us, thank you for what you did. So I came out specifically to be able to meet some of those young people, put my arms around them, love on them, and encourage them, feed them. They probably need something to eat. But that's what we're here for.
Queen Mother, is there a website or social media or something that you want to give out for people who want to be part of the work that you're doing?
Absolutely. Facebook.com, Queen Mother Speaks, or YouTube.com, Queen Mother Speaks. And in the U.S., a lot of people know me as Dashanaba King. I used to dance professionally under Dashanaba King, but then most now know me as Queen Mother.
Queen Mother Speaks. Well, thank you, Queen Mother, for speaking with us.
Absolutely. It's my honor and my pleasure.
Asante sana.
Asante sana.
Your time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
KBLA Talk 1580 is now celebrating 3 years of amplifying our voice and uplifting our community. We deeply appreciate your support of this radio station and will always do our level best to earn your support. Here's to many more years of loving and serving our community. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
I know it's gonna happen without you.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but new Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with new Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
We got something to talk about.
Hey, beautiful people, it's Dr. Dashanaba Johnson. Looking for me? Here's where you'll find me. Hosting my brand new 2-hour weekend show, Saturdays and Sundays, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's a perfect time to hear and engage in intimate talks that are sure to boost your date night and intimate lives. So tune in to Let's Get Intimate with Dr. Dashanaba Johnson on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
We got something that's working well.
What happens on Tavis Smiley is the talk of the town. You can now tune in to the Tavis Smiley Show, weekdays at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Catch Tavis Smiley on the 9s, weekdays, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, man. Looks like Bobby needs a ride to the airport again.
Grab the keys.
Who's taking Auntie and her friends to the swap meet?
Grab the keys.
How about we drop these boxes off at Miss Johnson?
Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, you're all about getting things done. So do it all in a Chevy SUV. From the versatile Equinox and Sporty Blazer to the roomy Traverse, our lineup of SUVs will carry you through every adventure. All you have to do is...
grab the keys.
That's how we do. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Malibu, Colorado, Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Traverse limited models. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 15.8%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 7/1/24.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the AmeriCAN Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the AmeriCAN program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The AmeriCAN Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriCANCommunity.partners. That's AmeriCANCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Race, culture wars, political turf battles, criminal justice and injustice, the courts. These are the conversations you won't hear elsewhere. My guests are leading journalists, celebrities, and sports figures, elected leaders, and influencers. They aren't afraid to get into it and say the quiet part out loud. With Ariva Martin in real time, your commute just became the most engaging part of your day. Tune in weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. or find us on YouTube. Ariva Martin in real time, when you want it straight, no chaser.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Grid Alternatives is a nonprofit organization in Los Angeles. We offer paid job training. In 13 weeks, you can be a solar installer. Solar is a high-growth industry. 80% of our graduates get hired in the industry. We serve communities who have been left out of the renewable energy sector. Call today, 626-600-1852. Again, 626-600-1852. Don't be left out any longer.
The news on vapes talks a lot about the technology and teen use.
But parents need to know more about the dangers of nicotine. So know this. 1. Nicotine is a poison that can rewire teens' brains. 2. It can increase mood swings. 3. It can limit attention and learning. So even when it comes in new tech, nicotine is brain poison. Go to undo.org for more.
Did you know that streaming music, ebooks, audiobooks, movies, and more is available for free from the Los Angeles Public Library? With your library card, you can access the latest music and movies, audiobooks and ebooks, graphic novels, comic books, magazines, and more. If you don't have a library card and live in the city of Los Angeles, you can get a digital card online for free. Check it out at lapl.org/emedia. That's lapl.org/emedia.
Have you been a victim or witness to hate or discrimination? Contact the California vs. Hate hotline to report the incident by calling 833-8-NO-HATE or visit cavshate.org. They'll help you access resources and support, including legal, financial, mental health, and mediation services. California vs. Hate is not affiliated with the police, and you can report anonymously. Use your voice. Report hate by calling 833-8-NO-HATE or visit cavshate.org. Res Radio 91.3.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties. Classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Forecasters are keeping an eye on Hurricane Beryl in the Caribbean. The historic storm became the earliest Category 4 hurricane on record and formed farther east than any other Atlantic hurricane in June. Beryl built to Category 4 Sunday morning, but was downgraded to Category 3 early today with maximum sustained winds of 120 miles an hour. Simone Biles is on her way to the Paris Olympics. The 27-year-old African-American gymnast secured a spot on the 5-member squad by being the top finisher in the U.S. Olympics team's trials in Minneapolis, Minnesota over the weekend after winning 4 gold medals and a bronze at the 2016 Games in Rio, plus a silver and bronze at the Tokyo Games in 2021. She's a medal away from being the most decorated American Olympics gymnast. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It could be a nervous 24 hours for Clippers Nation. All-star forward Paul George has until 2 p.m. Saturday to decide on accepting a $48.8 million contract option with the Clippers. If he chooses not to accept the option, he becomes an unrestricted free agent and can sign with any team. The Dodgers are in San Francisco tonight to start a 3-game series with the Giants. The Angels are going for their 5th straight win tonight at home against Detroit. 3 weeks ago, the Angels had the worst home record in the major leagues. They've improved to 16-25 with 41 home games left on the schedule. The Angels have plenty of time to reach 500 at home. Tomorrow night at 7 here on KBLA, join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough for Out of Bounds, 60 minutes of sports chatter with some flavor. You can join the conversation at 1-800-920-1580. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chucha's opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chucha's Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Hey! We are at a cafe at an undisclosed location in Nairobi, Kenya, and I have the good fortune to be talking with a film student here. His name is Kelvin Maina, and we expect him to win an Oscar in the future. Thank you for agreeing to talk with me today.
Yeah, thank you for agreeing to meet with me and to speak. It's a real honor.
You're 19 years old?
Yes, I am.
So you're part of Generation Z.
Yes, I am.
And tell me about how you got involved with trying to change the decision of the parliament.
Well, we were in school with my friends and we just saw how this whole thing, it's just crazy, and like people didn't actually seem to care, like older people didn't seem to care, and it actually affected them more than us, but they didn't care. So like I wasn't in Nairobi, but in our school we also protested. We moved from MKU to all the way to town, and then we just protested in our own way, but it was fun.
How did you organize? Did you guys use social media? Did you use word of mouth? Was it spontaneous? How did you organize?
It was like through social media. Like there was a text on. It was planned. Like the whole country they had decided to protest on a certain day. So it was on Tuesday and Thursday, last week and still this week again. So like it was already planned out, and people just spread the message through WhatsApp, Instagram, all those social media sites. Yeah.
Were you surprised to see the violence or the way that the authorities reacted to the protesters?
Yes, it was actually really scary because like we were like teens and young people who were defenseless. They didn't have any weapons. They were just protesting with some branches and maybe word of mouth. But the police decided to use force. They killed a lot of people. I heard of a person like an old woman who was just closing up her shop, who was shot dead, and she was just defenseless. So like I guess it's crazy what the government can do when people decide to rise up.
How did you feel when they said they were going to at least pause the bill or maybe withdraw it? How did that make you feel?
It didn't change anything because, like we all know, like for a president, he can withdraw the act. Like it has to be withdrawn by the person who made it. So like, I guess he was just saying it for the sake. I don't know, but it it hasn't changed. But tunafaa tu kuangalia. We need to wait and see if something changes. But it it I guess it didn't make any difference at that time.
So what you're telling me is that until the parliament withdraws the bill, it's just symbolism. It doesn't mean anything. Until the lawmakers who made the bill withdraw the bill, you're going to keep protesting?
Um, I don't know, but since I think the president just take that for the sake to just shut us up and stop us from protesting. But yes, I think people are gonna. I don't know if people are gonna decide to continue protesting, but I think it will. If it actually passes, I think people are gonna continue protesting because it's really unfair what they're doing to us. And I think there should be justice still for the people who died because we can't just forget them because it's over 200 people. Like that's a lot of people to die for something that nobody had control over. Well, they had control over, the government had control over everything, but they just decided to kill people. So I think people should continue protesting if it's a must.
You know, it's interesting you say 200 because in the Western media they're telling us 12.
No, I don't know. Like this town just past Nairobi. It's called Githurai, where a lot of people died. Over 237 people died. Like they were being shot on the street. People had to walk to their homes, and it's like a lot of. It's a huge distance. So like, and they were just shooting people on the street, just like that. Defenseless people. That old person who I told you about, she was just closing up her shop, and then she was shot dead. So like, it's not just 12, and there were a lot of I don't know graphic images of everything, and it's just people who are 19 who were just lying dead, and it's I guess it's really awful, and it's not just 12. I think people should know that.
You said that this finance bill would affect the elders more than Generation Z who are protesting. What are the effects that you think would happen?
Um, the like when you read it, you see like this. It really invades your privacy. Like it states that people are gonna be charged according to how they use their money on their phones. So that's invasion of privacy. We use this thing called M-Pesa. So like they're gonna be checking on your M-Pesa statement, and now the like let's say the last 6 months of how you spent your money, they're gonna tax you according to how you spend your money like that, and that's really it doesn't even make sense because they just look for more ways to tax people. Like they say they wanna reduce inflation, but that's a really dumb way to do it, I guess. And it's also a lot of stuff. Like they said they were gonna increase the tax on bread, and then he reduced it. But the reason he gave was that I don't know that bread gives us cancer. Like what that doesn't even make sense.
That is kind of wild. Okay, so I mean, I got to ask you this: aren't you afraid? I mean, you're taking a stand in a time when it's a little scary. It seems.
I think they want us to be afraid. That's the main thing. That's why they used all that force. But I think that's the real. If we become afraid, like if we become afraid, it's gonna affect us more. Cause we are gonna have children and families one day, and this bill is gonna be what's gonna be in our lives at that time. So we shouldn't be afraid to stand up for what we believe in. Yes.
So, what do you want to say? What do you want to say to the people, young people, your generation, and people that care, people that want to support you around the world?
It's good as a generation. I think we need to stand up for what we believe in, and it's not just that. It's not just this, because there's gonna come some other stuff that they're gonna come. So we need to be always stand together, and we all are in social media. So like if something happens, we need to share it everywhere so that people need to know what's happening, not just in Kenya but everywhere across the world. I think that's what people should do now.
Why is Generation Z so bold?
I guess it's because we are not afraid to say what we believe in, and because we don't care. Like I have this mentality where, like, it's my life. Like if I keep quiet, it's gonna affect me. It's not gonna affect somebody else. So if I keep quiet, it's not gonna affect somebody else. It's gonna affect me. So that's why we need to be bold. That's why we are bold, because it's our lives. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Kelvin.
Yeah. It's an honor.
Stay strong.
Yeah, thanks.
We are at the News Cafe in the Sarit Center, Nairobi, Kenya, and we're here, with Dr. Dashanaba King, aka Queen Mother, who actually graduated from UCLA, and of course, we're in Nairobi, and the Queen Mother sends her greetings to everyone in the United States and around the world that listens to KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007 they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA CAN believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Have you heard of the 50-30-20 rule? This can help you spend and save your money wisely. So, how does it work? Distribute your dollars into 3 buckets. 50% towards needs, 30% towards your wants, and 20% goes to savings. Use this tool to help your journey to financial success. Sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
When you turn to the Employment Development Department, we'll help you get there. Whether it's support for you and your family while you find a new job, or the resources to focus on your recovery after illness or injury, we can help you move forward. From support while you bond with your newborn, to helping serve your family while your partner serves our country. Your EDD. We'll help you get there. For more information, visit edd.ca.gov.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by App.
Life hack number 7. Get an iPhone 12 on Straight Talk.
Life hack.
Here's how it works. You walk into Walmart, go to the electronics section, ask for iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system, and select the new Silver Unlimited plan. They'll smile because it's a good plan. You get real unlimited data, all for just $20 a month for the whole first year. Get it at Walmart or StraightTalk.com. Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Taxes and fees apply. Requires activation of iPhone 12 and a new Silver Unlimited plan or higher end auto pay enrollment. $25 a month service credit applied for up to 12 months if eligibility requirements are met. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Really awesome to have a chance to speak with this teenage protester there in Nairobi, one of the Generation Z kids who has actually hit the streets in protest and changed the trajectory of their nation's policy. Like the Gen Z kids here in the United States that are protesting our policies in Gaza, they are fearless, outspoken, bold, not willing to wait, not willing to temper or moderate their messages, and just outspoken. If you think about the possibilities of that, I mean, we see the consequences right here in the U.S., young people being disinvited from jobs, being punished academically and legally, criminally, for practicing their freedom of speech. There in Kenya, we've seen a lot of young people killed by the authorities. It's widely believed that some of them have been disappeared, have been possibly kidnapped. I wasn't able to verify that, but it is what I heard from people who were willing to get on the mic and some who were concerned about the consequences and spoke to me off the record. Widely believed. So imagine protesting in that environment and then being willing to talk to us at KBLA and bring the message directly to you. It's very important, I think, and I was honored to be able to be there on the ground in the middle of this international breaking story and talk to actual protesters, black folks who are out there, and to see this young man's determination that the declaration by the president saying, okay, I'm withdrawing the bill, was not enough for him. He wanted to see, and many others want to see, the person who wrote that bill withdraw it. And as Miles and I were driving over to do the interview, where the Queen Mother and this young protester were, we saw very tight security. The streets that lead to the parliament were closed down to traffic, any traffic at all. And by closed down, I mean there were armed military police, fully uniformed with automatic weapons, standing there guarding those streets so that no traffic could go through. And that's partly because more protests are planned. According to the flyers I was seeing there on the street in Nairobi, there are actions planned every day. Today, they're saying they're going to print posters with the faces of the police, the members of parliament, and the government agents that are pushing this bill and cracking down on protesters. So that's planned for today. Tomorrow, they're calling it hashtag Occupy Everywhere. It's a public holiday, and Kenyans will occupy, they say, all the major roads in the country and sit down. That's something we haven't seen, I haven't seen happening in Kenya yet, but that's what they're calling for on Tuesday. On Wednesday, they're saying they're going to, I'm quoting the flyer here, going to, quote, identify amongst us who are police officers, MPs, and agents of the regime, and report on that. And then on July 4th, it's Occupy Everywhere again, and they're saying it's a public holiday, and all Kenyans of all ages in solidarity shall occupy all major roads in the country and sit down. They're also using hashtag Ruto Must Go. This is for what they're calling 7 days of justice from the 28th of June till July 4th. That was what I have available. I know there's probably more planned after that, because it seems that until they get the complete assurance that that bill is not coming back, these protests will continue. And they are not settling for a partial victory. They're not settling for, the declarations and proclamations that we have seen so far. We will talk next with the national champion for gender equity, and a man who seemed like he could have been straight out of Leimert Park, straight out of Crenshaw, but he's a Caribbean gentleman who is doing business in Nairobi. And as Miles and I discussed, it gives you that eye-opening feeling like, wow, there's so many options in this world, and there are so many places that function differently than the way, we function here. I know you got a lot. We have a lot going on here in the U.S., and I'm tracking it to the best of my ability. Congratulations to all the BET award winners. And, man, you did the doggone thing when you got the Vice President of the United States quoting your rap song at the BET Awards. VP Kamala Harris was talking about the right-wing extremists that are threatening to veer our country off into authoritarianism and fascism. And she said, they not like us. Whoa. Yeah. That's when you did the doggone thing. Not only it's everywhere from the streets to the country clubs, but it is coming out of the mouth of the vice president. Even at a time when, the polling is brutal for Biden, and I get that, but I don't think that you, as I said earlier, I don't think you pivot away from Biden because he had a bad debate or even because he's old and infirm. And maybe he's not infirm. I don't mean to be, presumptuous, but it seems like that's what people think, and that's why they're calling on him to step down. But hey, in my opinion, Kamala Harris would be a better president than Trump or Biden, and it's not even close. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 15.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Forecasters are keeping an eye on Hurricane Beryl in the Caribbean. The historic storm became the earliest Category 4 hurricane on record and formed farther east than any other Atlantic hurricane in June. Beryl built to Category 4 Sunday morning, but was downgraded to Category 3 early today with maximum sustained winds of 120 miles an hour. Simone Biles is on her way to the Paris Olympics. The 27-year-old African-American gymnast secured a spot on the 5-member squad by being the top finisher in the U.S. Olympics team's trials in Minneapolis, Minnesota over the weekend. After winning 4 gold medals and a bronze at the 2016 Games in Rio, plus a silver and bronze at the Tokyo Games in 2021, she's a medal away from being the most decorated American Olympics gymnast. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It could be a nervous 24 hours for Clippers Nation. All-star forward Paul George has until 2 p.m. Saturday to decide on accepting a $48.8 million contract option with the Clippers. If he chooses not to accept the option, he becomes an unrestricted free agent and can sign with any team. The Dodgers are in San Francisco tonight to start a 3-game series with the Giants. The Angels are going for their 5th straight win tonight at home against Detroit. 3 weeks ago, the Angels had the worst home record in the major leagues. They've improved to 16-25 with 41 home games left on the schedule. The Angels have plenty of time to reach 500 at home. Tomorrow night at 7 here on KBLA, join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough for Out of Bounds, 60 minutes of sports chatter with some flavor. You can join the conversation at 1-800-920-1580. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California. Home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for Black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Aviterus, for the 2nd consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for Black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the Black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@KBLA1580.com. That's advertising at KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got your Black.
KBLA Talk 1580 continuing to broadcast from East Africa, where we've been in Tanzania and Zanzibar, and we've also been in Kenya, the Masai Mara, and